tisztultásra bájra.
Hello, Lucas, are you there?
Yeah. So it's we say the category and then
the one that you hi Chris, I'm here.
It's okay. I was just going to ask you to unpause the screen sharing and then repause it again.
Okay.
Hello, Lucas, are you there? Yeah, I would advise that you mute, if you have the YouTube stream running as well, you mute it. It gets very confusing.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Dr. Sol Macy, the director of the Kennedy Institute. I'll be doing a welcoming at the very beginning.
Hi.
Hello, Lucas, are you there?
Lucas is here.
I think that was somebody has a very delayed stream that was actually replaying that you heard.
Oh, okay. I think it may have been Laura. Hi, Dan.
Greetings. I presume I should mute until I'm ready to speak.
Yeah, that'll be good, Dan. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, are we live?
We are.
Okay. So, welcome. We're expecting some more people to join us, and I can see the number of participants creeping up at the bottom of my screen. I'm Laura Bishop, and I'm so excited that you all are here to celebrate our Bioethics Showcase. I want to first turn the screen over to the acting director of the Kennedy Institute of Ethics, Daniel Sulmacy, MD, PhD, who is the Andre Helligers Professor of Biomedical Ethics, and he's the acting director of the Kennedy Institute of Ethics. And Dan will open the showcase.
Well, thank you, Laura, and thanks to everybody who's participating. On behalf of the Kennedy Institute, I'm very delighted to welcome all of you to the 6th annual Bioethics Showcase. It is, of course, our first virtual showcase, but we're all getting used to lots of virtual firsts. There are almost 70 submissions for this, which I think is a record, maybe because everybody's shut back in their homes and they have more time to be able to engage in this, but we're really excited by it. Every school of the undergraduates has been represented here, from the college to the nursing health sciences, to McDonough, to the School of Foreign Services, a wide range of majors, from everything from art to physics is represented. Every single year is represented. So we're really very excited by the participation this year. There are two purposes to the showcase. The first, of course, is to showcase all of you and your work, our excellent undergraduate students at Georgetown University. We're thrilled to showcase your work, but we also want to highlight the issues, highlight the importance of bioethics in daily life. And if we ever needed any reminder of that, COVID-19 has certainly made it clear to us as we now read continually about the ethics of rationing ventilators, the ethics of letting people onto drug trials for experimental treatment, the ethics of surveillance techniques, including whether they're going to use the GPS on your phone to find out where you are and if you've had any contact with somebody. So the issues are abundant in all of life. Obviously, all of you are talking about issues that are far beyond the bioethics of COVID, but there are plenty of issues in daily life that really affect everybody from a bioethical perspective. I want to congratulate all of you on your work. I've had a chance to look at least at the abstracts. I'm looking forward, as everyone else is here, to hearing your presentations. And now I want to turn it back to Professor Laura Bishop, who is the director of this showcase. She's the academic program director for the Kennedy Institute, a really incredible person dedicated to teaching, dedicated to you as students, dedicated to the field of bioethics and promoting it. I think I'm the better for knowing her, and I suspect all of you are the better for knowing her as well and for bringing all of us together. So Laura, the show is yours.
Thank you, Dan. Right now, I am just so happy to see your faces. I think we all spend a lot of time apart from one another at this point, and I recognize some of you, and some of you we are having the good fortune of meeting for the first time, and we'll have a chance to introduce ourselves as the program goes on. But I wanted to echo Dan's comment that that I am very pleased with the turnout this year. It's a big showcase. It made a lot of work for the judges, but I think they will tell you in a short amount of time later in the program that they really enjoyed their work. And as Dan said, and all of you well know, bioethics is a field that intersects with each of our lives when we think about health and illness and birth and death. And it's certainly something that is uppermost in people's minds now as we try to maintain a safe distance, but still be a global community. So I wanted to say thank you to all of you for participating. Thank you to your professors and to your faculty mentors. And a special thank you for our judges this year who had to do an amazing amount of work in short order. You'll hear from them a little bit later, but Kolva, if you could, I don't know if you can hear me, Kolva, if you can wave. There's Kolva Weisenstein, who's a program manager from American Studies, and John Crowley Buck. There he is. Can you wave, John? Who is a special assistant to the vice president in the Office of Mission and Ministry, and Amanda Monroe. I don't know if I see her yet, but I can't see everybody. She's the associate director for mission curricular integration at the Center for Social Justice Research and Teaching. So I wish that you could realize how carefully each one of your submissions were considered, assessed, discussed, and explored. And I think you'll hear comments later from the judges. And I want to say now, and I will say again, that we all are ready to try to assist you if you'd like to develop your work further, possibly for publication or for a senior thesis, or to enhance your portfolio as you apply to graduate school. Wanted to say a special thank you at the top of the hour to our student assistants at the Kennedy Institute, Amber Gillette and Rachel Biggio, who's graduating this year. They really helped organize the submissions and create lists for our judges and for our PowerPoint. And a big thank you to my colleagues, Mike Chitterer, who's the KAE Director of Finance and Operations. You wouldn't think that would mean he would be working on the showcase, but he had to pitch in and help migrate the PowerPoint to the website and work on technology. And my biggest thank you to Lucas Chandler, who on my screen is in the upper corner. He's waving at you now, but without Lucas especially, and without Lucas and Mike, we would all be talking to ourselves. So they figured out how to use this technology. We're actually being guinea pigs for the university and using this webinar technology. And Lucas worked extremely hard to upload all the submissions and to keep the program moving forward. So after we conclude our time together, you are welcome to look through the gallery of submissions that are up and also to browse through all the different abstracts that are there. So Lucas did all this while finishing his master's degree. So I think it's pretty amazing. He's here, a master's student here at Georgetown. So this year we won't have our lovely reception or our arts event, but if you are not graduating and you come back to campus, I hope that next year you'll be able to join us and celebrate in person. So this year we'll celebrate with all of you. So Lucas and I are going to kind of share the responsibilities for working our way through the program. And I sent you the program outline by email. But now I'm going to turn it over to Lucas, and he's going to explain how we'd like you each to introduce yourselves as we move through the program.
Hi, everyone. Forgive me, I'm toggling between monitors here. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, I am reading. So we're just so excited to have you all here. In light of current global circumstances, we are not only just delighted to gather virtually, but we're also really excited to continue to celebrate the community spirit of Georgetown that we all have for one another. And we're so excited to hear from each one of you. As we go through the submission categories, I will announce each category. And at that time, if you submitted in that category, you may turn your mic on, but only at that point. Once that occurs, you will introduce yourselves after I state your name. And so when you speak, please speak clearly and name, your city, your state, and your country, if it's anywhere other than the United States or where you're at now, the title of your submission, and probably the most challenging part, a single sentence or about a key point or a key insight of your submission. If you have multiple submissions in a single category, you are welcome to have 2 sentences. At the point at which you have finished speaking, please be sure to turn off your audio. That way, the next speaker, if they are here, can begin speaking without interruption. Also, please note that not everyone could join us tonight, so I will wait a few seconds after naming each name. And if we do not hear anyone, then we will move to the next name. And so our first group is the academic paper, which was our largest group. So if you submitted 2 works, as I said, state that fact prior to stating your name. Okay, so for the academic paper category, we first have Amna Al-Essa.
Hello, my name is Amna Al-Essa. I'm from Villar. The title of my submission is The Inception of Life in Islam and its Impact on Bioethical Controversies, the Use of Embryonic Stem Cells in Research. My work is based on the question of permissibility of embryonic stem cells research in Islam, which my findings show that it is prohibited only in the case of using surplus embryos. Thank you.
Caitlin Barr. Ethan Cantrell. Emily Coster.
Hi, I'm Emily Coster, and the title of my submission is Exploring Neurodevelopmental Disorders and Broader Implications of MRI Technology. I'm from Greenwich, Connecticut, and in one sentence, my submission seeks to review the existing literature about MRI as a diagnostic tool and how that has implications for the diagnosis, the treatment, and broader social and clinical attitudes toward disabilities, especially neurodevelopmental disorders.
Thank you. Cynthia Desmet Villar.
Hi, I'm Cynthia. I'm currently in Dallas, Texas, and the title of my submission is Our Moral Responsibility Towards Climate Refugees, where I explored the responsibility of society towards the environmentally displaced by analyzing the specific case study of Tuvalu through the polluter pays and the ability to pay theory. Thank you.
Thank you. Madeline Forbes.
Hi, my name is Maddie Forbes. I'm currently in Chicago, Illinois, and the title of my submission is Temporal Logic in Hardy's The Woodlanders, the Present and the Past Week. My paper investigates the ways in which Hardy's Darwinian approach to the evolution of his setting's ecology, one of retrograde development, grounds itself in a sympathetic understanding of individualized trauma, evoking ripples of the critic Christina Sharp's concept of the wake and engaging in elements of her model of traumatic time, wherein time doesn't proceed in a line, but rather gathers in loops and recursive motions. Thank you.
Thank you. Carly Glickenhaus.
Hi, I'm Carly Glickenhaus. I'm in New York, and my paper is titled The Human Cost of Illegal, Unreported, and Unregulated Fishing on the High Seas, Threats to Global Security and Human Ethics. The global ocean is really weakly governed, and that has huge ethical implications since we're unable to monitor human rights violations in international waters, which include forced labor, human trafficking, and egregious working conditions, all to feed an insatiable global appetite for cheap protein.
Thank you. Peter Guthrie.
Hi, I'm Peter Guthrie. I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and my paper is titled Why the Green New Deal Can Implement the Well-Being Model of Justice. And it makes a case for the Green New Deal by arguing that the multitudinous threats posed by climate change require an equally expansive definition of justice and policies targeted at securing those specific components of well-being.
Thank you. Olivia Clyer.
Yeah, I'm Olivia Clyer. I'm from San Francisco, California. And the title of my submission is Laudato Si, the Earth and the Disability Community. In my paper, I attempt to bring together the religious and disability communities' perspectives in order to demonstrate the interconnected nature of climate change advocacy and the moral imperative we have as humans to ensure that marginalized voices are included in climate change disaster plans.
Thank you. Casey Kozak.
Hi, my name is Casey Kozak. I'm currently at home in Marlton, New Jersey. The title of my paper is A Medical Examination of Humanitarian Aid. And the key takeaway is that there's a tremendous need for context-appropriate training for medical relief providers, as well as more efficient coordination among humanitarian organizations or groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Landry. Hannah Lynch. Sarah Marjuki.
Hi, my name is Sarah Marjuki, and the title of my paper was Privacy in the Age of Coronavirus, a Deontological Perspective. I'm also from the Bay Area, California, but my paper proposed acceptable guidelines for use of surveillance technology during pandemics, and I use South Korea as an example and what they're doing to try to prevent and track the spread of the virus.
Thank you. William Misciagna.
Hi, my name's Will Misciagna, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. My paper was titled Nancy Eastland's Reimagined Theology of Disability, and I investigated some disabled experiences in religious communities and how to change societal norms and community dynamics.
Thank you. Next is Sadie Morris.
Hi there, my name is Sadie. I'm in Redding, California. My paper is called The Duty to Imagine, and it looks at how we need to actually be able to imagine a better world before we're able to actually create a better world. And then I specifically look at that through the lens of climate change policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trevor O'Connor.
Hello, everyone. I'm Trevor O'Connor. I'm from Lufkin, Texas. My submission is entitled Medical Closets, an analysis of the parallels between Dean Spade's criticism of the medical model of transsexuality and criticism of the traditional coming out narrative. So basically, this paper argues that the current medical model for gender affirming surgery, like the coming out of the closet metaphor, is restrictive, reinforces strict categories rather than gender and sexual fluidity, and puts the onus on external permission rather than internal affirmation of queer identity.
Thank you. I will do my best to pronounce this. Omayele Okanola.
Hi, everyone. My name is Omi Okanola. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and the title of my submission was Codifying Servitude, Unsound Slaves and Efforts to Maintain U.S. Slavery, 1830 to 1860. And my submission was actually the introduction of my American Studies senior thesis, in which I basically examine what I see as the historic association between Black identity and disabled identity by looking at the 19th century and the institution of US slavery, in which I look at how assumptions about Blackness, gender, and disability seeped into medical, economic, and legal discourses surrounding the buying and selling of purportedly defective or what was known as unsound slaves at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. William Overcash. Ashna Reddy. Yenia Sarkar.
Hi, so my name is Genia and I live in Ellicott City, Maryland, outside of Baltimore. And my academic paper was about medicalization, erasing women who face violence. That was the title. And I found it just astounding how the issue of sexual and gender-based violence is at the forefront of our society currently, but has not been ingrained into our clinical care continuum yet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Katrina Schmidt.
Hi, I'm Katrina Schmidt. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. My paper is titled Human Rights and Bolivia's Pluralist Legal System. And basically my research shows that the 2009 reform of Bolivia's constitution and legal system, which granted equal weight to indigenous law and codified law, empowers indigenous communities whose pursuit of justice has often been hindered by discrimination or geographic isolation.
Thank you. Henry Silver.
My name is Henry Silver. I am now at home in New York City. The title of my submission in this category is ITSM, an object lesson in Jewish environmentalism. The twin guiding purposes of this paper were first to investigate very broadly the religious basis and practical contributions of Jewish environmentalism, including its ostensible scriptural roots and its role in current activism. And second, to assess a modern Zionist environmental organization called ITSM as a sort of diagnostic procedure to call out and to state the case for the rectification of some of the principal defects and even the somewhat regressive character of much of the explicitly Jewish approaches to or manifestations of the climate movement, especially in their relations to Israel.
Thank you. Chloe Suzuki. Patrick Walsh.
Hello, my name is Patrick Walsh. I'm currently in Watertown, Massachusetts. My submission is titled What's Past This Prologue, the Consideration of Health Interventions. So my submission analyzes the act of humanitarian intervention that underpins the contemporary field of global health. And I find in here that those that wield the power of designing, implementing, and measuring these interventions are rarely include those who are the recipients.
Thank you. Joyce Yang. If anyone submitted in the category academic paper, or if I named you and you were cut off by chance by someone, please name yourself now. Okay, well, those are our students from the academic paper category. And I'm now going to pass over to my colleague, Dr. Laura Bishop, to begin announcing the journalistic reporting.
Thank you, Lucas. So journalistic reporting was also a popular category, but not quite as big as academic paper. But we have a range of different submissions here. So as Lucas did, I will read your name, and if you're on the call, please feel free to introduce yourself. And I will wait a few seconds in case someone was not able to join us. I know at least one student in the academic paper category emailed me and said that they're having big bad storms in New Jersey, so she was having trouble getting connected. Okay, Alexa Ash. And I know Grace Buono is not joining us. She has a family commitment. Anne-Marie Cuccia.
Hi,
Hi, yes, I'm Anne-Marie Kucha. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma, and I submitted two pieces. One is entitled Georgetown's Long Path to Divestment, and the other one is entitled, it's co-authored by Annie, who's also on the call. Unlike any other class, AMSTAT 272 confronts Georgetown's history with slavery. And the main thing I think that I took away from both of them is just the immense amount of responsibility we have as a university community to do social good and the different ways that people interpret that responsibility, whether that be academic, activist, or in sort of a more social way.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Annabella, are you on the call as well?
Hi, yes, my name's Annabella Hogue. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I co-authored the piece with Anne-Marie. And a key takeaway from our piece, I think, was the intersection of an academic approach and a student activist approach to our university's history with slavery, and how we can kind of work together and work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia Desmet Villar.
Hi, I'm Cynthia. The title of my submission is Greenovation, Future of Technology and Sustainability. And in this paper, through the eyes of a returning alumna who ran a workshop on climate change at the Greenovation Conference of the United World College, I explored the extent to which this event can possibly reshape and impact the dialogue on climate change.
Thank you. Kristen Garino. Amber Gillette.
Hi, I'm Amber Gillette. I'm in Gainesville, Florida right now. I co-authored a piece called Campus Sustainability Hindered by Lack of Communication with Yu Young Lee. And our intent in writing this article was to both show what the university was already doing to create a sustainable environment, especially in terms of infrastructure and recycling, and to also show ways in which our campus can be improved, both in terms of individuals taking action, as well as the administration working to make our campus more sustainable.
Great. And Yu Young Lee, are you also on the call? That's Amber's co-author. Sonia Hugh.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I am from Columbia, Missouri, and my piece was called Forced Sterilizations Devastate Lives in South Africa. And this article just aims to highlight the plight of HIV-positive women in South Africa and focuses on the intersection of various identities and how they interact to produce this severe violation of human rights and ethical principles.
Thank you. Sarah Hutchinson. Samantha Martin. Marissa Morrison. Roman Peregrino. I think all the journalists are off catching another story, maybe. Maeve Silk.
Hi, my name is Maeve Silk. I'm from Northfield, Illinois. My article is titled Sustainable Fashion Moves Towards Ethical Sourcing, and it discusses the roles that the Phoenix Boutique and DC Sustainable Fashion Collective have played in promoting sustainable fashion in DC, as well as ways that students can participate in the sustainable fashion movement.
Great. And Noah Tulersky.
Hello, I'm Noah Tulersky. I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire. My piece is titled Maryland Block's Proposed Off-Campus Solar Project, which was published in The Voice. And it was the culmination of about 10 months of reporting. This was the last story I wrote in a series of articles about Georgetown's proposed off-campus solar project in La Plata, Maryland. And the ethical question at the center of it is, should we cut down trees to build solar panels? And the state of Maryland in this story and what it's about. The state of Maryland said, no, we should not.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the journalistic reporting category who did not have a chance to speak? Okay, I will turn it back over to Lucas for the next category of submissions.
So our next category is literary analysis and creative writing. First is Rachel Biggio.
My name is Rachel, and I'm from Monterey, California. My paper is called Infection and the Ideology, and it's a feminist disability studies critique of the model of female subjectivity that Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gubar map out in their essay, Infection in the Sentence, the Female Writer and the Anxiety of Authorship.
Thank you. Ethan Cantrell. Catherine Dammer.
My name is Katie Dammer, and I'm from Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. The title of my submission is Mary Queer Root, a lens for an ethical discourse on euthanasia. And I analyze news articles about Paralympic champion Mary Queer Root, a Belgian athlete who passed away last fall, to explain arguments for and against euthanasia on non-terminal patients.
Thank you. Healy Knight.
Hi, I'm Healy. I'm in New Haven, Connecticut. The title of my piece is The New Garden, Histories of the Garden of Nympha. And my aim was to write a cross-disciplined, multi-genred story of the Garden of Nympha. It's a garden just outside of Rome. And through research and creative writing, the essay attempts to capture the ways a single place holds history and memory across disciplines that appear contradictory or unrelated, such as topographical history, family history, the history of ownership of the garden, and my own creative writing. And that it's actually in the contradiction that a greater understanding of place and history can occur.
Thank you. Sarah Martin. Claudia Pagnazzi-Schwamm.
Hi, my name is Claudia Pagnozzi-Schwamm. I'm from Mystic, Connecticut. The title of my submission is What Am I? The Invisible Riddle, and the piece explores what constitutes disability and the harmful outcomes derived from our ideology of cure.
Thank you. Ashna Reddy. Alicia Tacarante. Avery Van Natta. Rebecca Zaritsky. And is there anyone else from literary analysis and creative writing? Okay. Well, next I will pass off yet again to break the monotony of our voices to my colleague Laura Bishop for the next category.
Thank you, Lucas. The next category of submissions is in the multimedia and performing arts area. And the first person alphabetically in that category is Leanne Almeida.
Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm currently in DC. My project is called Forgotten Effects of Progress, the Introduction of Steam Power to British India. And the project explores the harmful impacts of the construction of railways in India in the 19th century, both on the people living there and the natural world, and considers how these actions might fit into a larger timeline that includes our present moment.
Thank you. Maisha Ewal.
Hi, I'm Maisha. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. The title of my submission is I'm in Pain, but Do You Understand? And one of the key takeaways from my project was that I learned that it's important to recognize that chronic illness may be defined by individuals in various ways as people have different lived experiences.
Thank you. Alexandra Bowman.
Hi there. Yeah, my name is Alexandra Bowman. I'm a sophomore in the college. I'm an editorial political cartoonist for environmental news platform Our Daily Planet. I've been doing cartoons for them once a week since November, and I just submitted my entire body of work.
Thank you. Lucy Carlin? Emily Jaster?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm in Leesburg, Virginia. The title of my work is Ethical Coding, and it's a short play that is a narrative meditation on what it means to be human in light of advancing artificial intelligence, and additionally how artificial intelligence might understand what it means to be human.
Genia Sarkar?
So my name's Jeannie, as I said before. I'm from Ellicott City, Maryland, and my multimedia submission was environmental education through play and learning for grade R students in South Africa. And my key takeaway was that developmental service projects can take different formats, and what really is important is that you're able to make that incremental impact in some way.
Thank you. And then we have a co-authored work by Dalen Waters and Ryan Henderson. Dalen, are you here? Okay. And Ryan, are you here? Okay. So I will pass this back to Lucas for the last two categories. And then we will be completed in introducing ourselves.
All right, so our next category is policy proposal. We had a single submission, and Helen Wickstrom.
Hi, my name is Helen Wickstrom, and I'm currently in Uxbridge, Massachusetts. And my submission was titled A Call for Commercial Payment for Telehealth Services. And I wrote this in light of COVID-19. And in it, I proposed that commercial payment parity laws be nationally synchronized, so to better enable our physicians to continue to adopt and use virtual care services, which will ultimately improve patient access to care.
Okay, thank you. Our next and final category for this year is rhetoric and argumentation. Our first submission is Julia Alvey.
Hi, I'm Julia Alvey, and I'm from Crystal Lake, Illinois. The title of my submission is Access to Basic Healthcare, a Privilege or a Right, a Case Analysis. And my submission helps to give some insight into how injustice in our healthcare system extends to populations that we don't often consider when we are looking into issues like insurance disparities.
Thank you. Annie Angel. Charlotte Lindsay.
Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I'm from London, England. My submission is called Organ Allocation, a Loaded Process. And in this piece, I look at how different systems of organ allocation produce vastly different results. And the various systems involve implicit claims about what it means to live and how life derives its value.
Thank you. Just in case they jumped on the call, Ashna Reddy. Henry Silver.
Once again, my name is Henry Silver. I am, believe it or not, still at home in New York City. The title of my submission in this category is The Logic and Ethics of Climate Change Denial. To sum it up as tersely as I reasonably can, my ideal for this paper was to excogitate and to corroborate both a logical and an ethical rebuttal of climate change denial, or more grossly unconcerned or inadequate concern about environmental degradation as an adjunct to the typical and perfectly legitimate scientific rebuttal. If I might hazard a general criticism of the mainstream climate movement, I would in part take some issue with the strictly scientific catechism about rising temperatures, the greenhouse effect, so on and so forth, with little or no heed paid to the ethical and logical dimensions and concomitants of the environmental crisis, which seem to me to be simpler and even likelier to disabuse people of the most prevalent misapprehensions about climate change.
Thank you. Layla Weiss. Nicholas Young.
Hi, my name's Nick Young. I'm from Freeland, Pennsylvania. My piece is titled "The Harm in Banning Abortions of Down Syndrome Fetuses." And in my piece, I argue that this legislation that is currently being proposed in several states and is being claimed to be intended toward helping people with intellectual disability is likely to, in reality, be quite harmful and misguided.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who was unable to speak for rhetoric and argumentation? Okay, well, I will pass on the next piece yet again to my colleague, Laura.
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you all for introducing yourselves. It's wonderful to meet you and to hear about your work. I wanted to give a moment for our 2020 judges to reflect a little bit on their experience of reading through this massive quantity of scholarship, and they might give you their reflections on what it was like. So Kolva, if you would like to start, Kolva's at American Studies.
Sure. This was a really fun and exciting thing to get to do. To see so much scholarship from so many different students at different points in your careers at Georgetown, from different disciplines, taking vastly different approaches to really meaningful, fundamental questions about experience, about politics, and about society and the environment was really exciting. There's a huge amount of great writing here and great creativity, and you should all be incredibly proud of what you've achieved, particularly because you're doing so in just the most bonkers circumstance possible. Good luck with that. But yeah, this was amazing. It was great fun to get to go through them and discuss them and think about your work and the things that you guys have been doing in courses and independently. Yeah, this was awesome. A super fun and robust experience.
Thank you. John, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Laura. And thanks, Laura and Lucas, for all of the work that you've done to make this whole thing possible, and to Kolva and to Amanda, my co-judges. Echoing what Kolva said, and I'm sure you'll hear it again from Amanda, this was a real a treat to be able to engage with all of you through scholarship, through performance, through personal narrative. You really sort of showcased, if I'm to use that phrase, the variety of ethical methodologies and ethical experiences that really sort of work on so many levels. So as an ethicist, it was a great joy for me to see how ethics continues to be part of the conversation in so many different areas. And I just, again, want to commend all of you for really tremendous work. It was, a great grace for us to have really stellar submissions, and we just got to choose from great things. It made, of course, on the one hand, decisions very difficult, but in the best kind of way. So I really want to commend you all for your work, for the really, especially at this time of pandemic, when I know your hearts and minds are in a variety of places, that you were able to get all this together, I thought was just even above and beyond. As we say in the Office of Mission and Ministry, the magis, sort of writ large. You all did so much more. So I just want to thank you all for the real gift you have given me to be able to encounter your work. And I know it was mentioned earlier, and I just want to echo it. For those of you who are interested in exploring your work further or looking for further feedback on anything, once we're all back on campus, my office is over on the first floor of Healy Hall. Feel free to come by anytime. I look forward to it. So thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you, John. Amanda, would you like to say anything?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Laura. I was struggling to figure out how to log in earlier, but it's great to be here. Reporting in from my home in Shaw in Washington, D.C., not too far from campus. And it is wonderful to see some familiar faces here, and then also to put some faces and voices to the projects that I have grown to know, I feel like, very closely over the past few days, as I spent a lot of time with them and deliberating with the other judges about that. It was a very interesting process. I learned some new things about issues that I care about, and I was illuminated and learned to understand about some new issues that I hadn't been as familiar with before. I came to Georgetown to study conflict resolution, which concerns itself greatly with issues of ethics. And I now work and have worked for about 7 years at the Center for Social Justice Research, Teaching, and Service on campus. And our central concern at the Center for Social Justice is to integrate the theory and research and data that we have about the world into the work for social justice. And we provide programs to students who want to explore how to apply what we know with how we act in the world. We do that through partnership with organizations that serve vulnerable communities. We do that through all sorts of research fellowships and courses as well. And we do it because we think that it is critical for our world at this time, and it is also inherent to who and how we are as an institution at Georgetown. And so it's a grace, as John was saying, to learn from each of you how you are approaching this critical work of applying what we know to how we might act. And it's, I think, also not a surprise that it's very challenging. Once you decide to take a stand on a particular issue, at a minimum, right, you're inviting conflict. You could be inviting a lot more defensiveness and opposition. And so I think that it's challenging work, and the choice to take it up is both required of us at this moment. Our planet requires it, as so many of you who drew attention to the climate crisis and other really critical issues mentioned. It's required of us, but it is very brave. So I commend you for the courage. I commend you for willing to go deep when issues required you to go deep, to not stay on the surface level. And like the others, I just want to reiterate that email me, Zoom chat me, come talk to us at the Center for Social Justice. We have lots of ways to resource and support you in your desire to continue this journey, and just very proud of each and every one of you and what you've submitted.
Thank you. And we need to circle back to the multimedia and performing arts category. I've been enjoying Maddie Rice on my screen. She's been her body language is very exuberant and cheerful, and somehow I failed to announce her name in that category. So Maddie, would you introduce yourself and speak a bit about your work?
Yes, and thank you so much for coming back to me. Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm in DC right now, but I'm from Pittsburgh. My project is called Discarded Narratives in Action, and it's a sculptural and multimedia project that uses discarded pill bottles, mostly mine and my family's, and other disposable medical supplies to explore personal, social, and environmental implications of disposability in medicine.
Thank you. Thank you for your virtue of patience. So we've come to the end of the introductions, and I wanted to encourage you all to unmute yourselves and join in a round of applause. We can sell it as an applause track, but please unmute yourself and cheer for yourselves. You all did great work. Yeah, thank you. So we, as Colva and John and Amanda have said, and Dan and Lucas, we all celebrate all of the work that you did. And really are tremendously impressed with the range of projects and the insights that you shared. And again, if you'd like to work further on your papers, we have the Bioethics Research Library that is part of the Kennedy Institute of Ethics on the first floor of Healy, and our librarians would be happy to help you. And then again, getting in touch with your faculty member, one of the judges, someone at the Kennedy Institute, we'd be glad to try to connect you up with someone who could help you develop your work further. We will have certificates of participation for all of you. And Lucas also has wonderful ribbons that we can share for the students who will next be recognized. We celebrate all of you, but there are some students that the judges would like to recognize with special recognition. So Lucas and I will take turns announcing these awards. And again, you'll get an award certificate and a ribbon that looks like you went to the state fair. So I will let Lucas start with the academic paper announcements, and he has one other comment he needs to make as the operations person.
Yes, thank you, Laura. And so if you do receive an award, you will be hearing from me in the next day or so. And it's important that you reply quickly with the information that I send. So if you do receive an award, please be sure to look out for an email from me, and please reply promptly. So to begin with our largest category, academic paper, in lieu of audible claps, I figured that we could either wave our hands or give a clap while we are on mute to celebrate each individual awardee. So in our academic paper category, we have a number of ties. And so we are first excited to announce that Carly Glickenhaus, with the project Human Costs of Illegal, Unreported, and Unregulated Fishing on the High Seas, Threats to Global Security and Human Ethics, is our first place winner in the academic paper category. And our second first place winner, that is they are tied, is Casey Kozak, A Medical Examination of Humanitarian Aid. In second place in the academic paper category, we also have two ties. Our first is Amna Al-Essa, Inception of Life in Islam and its Impact on Bioethical Controversies, the Use of Embryonic Stem Cells in Research. And then again, tied in second place, we have Sarah Marjuki, Privacy in the Age of the Coronavirus, a Deontological Perspective. And then in third place, we have Emily Koster, Exploring Neurodevelopmental Disorders and Broader Implications of MRI Technology. And Emily's faculty advisor is Ling Doty from the Department of Physics. And then again, tied in third place, we have Hannah Lynch, Values at Odds, the Tension Between Others, Speech, and Individual Liberty at Abortion Clinics and CPCs too. And now we also have a number of honorable mentions that Dr. Laura Bishop will now announce.
If I can figure out how to get myself off of mute. As you can tell, it was very difficult for the judges to make make choices in this category. It was really a wealth of really good scholarship. So in the honorable mention category, we have a number of students that they would like to recognize. Peter Guthrie, Why the Green New Deal Can Implement the Well-Being of Justice. Trevor O'Connor, Medical Closets, an Analysis of the Parallels Between Dean Spade's criticism of the medical model of transsexuality and criticism of the traditional coming out narrative. Chloe Suzuki, in Ethics of the Fast Fashion Industry as it relates to climate change. Joyce Yang, on reconciling justice and green gentrification. And then a very special honorable mention of a wonderful work that really was so interesting to the judges. The difficulty is that the showcase really is not designed to take in an entire senior thesis. But we wanted to recognize Omoyele Okunola's wonderful work on the introduction of codifying certitude, unsound slaves, and efforts to maintain US slavery 1830 to 1860. She was only able to submit her introductory chapter, but it was just a really, really interesting piece of work. And we need to figure out a way to be able to celebrate those wonderful senior theses. So the judges were very interested in that work. Yes, clap, clap, clap. Okay. Our next category is going back over to Lucas for journalistic reporting.
Thank you, Laura. So for journalistic reporting, while there was no first place, there is in second place, Marissa Morrison, IVF, now accessible to single women and lesbians in France. In third place for journalistic reporting, we also had a tie. And first is Anna Marie Cuccia, Georgetown's Long Path to Divestment, and Noah Tulersky, Maryland Block's proposed off-campus solar project. Next, we also have two honorable mentions that the judges wanted to recognize in journalistic reporting. Our first is Grace Buono. Yes, your traveling is ruining our planet, but don't stop now. And Grace's faculty mentor is James Olson from Candles, and he's also an adjunct professor in the Department of Philosophy. And now I will turn it back over to Dr. Laura Bishop for the next category.
I'm watching my cursor go wildly from one screen to the other. So this category, literary analysis and creative writing, we have some students to recognize with awards. In first place, it's Claudia Pagnozzi-Schwamm. Who am I? What am I? The Invisible Riddle. It's a piece of wonderful poetry. There are two second place awards in that category. Sarah Martin for Emmett's Assisted Suicide Center. And Avery Vannatta for Just Another Day. And the faculty mentor was Rebecca Boylan, who's an adjunct in the Office of the Provost. So good work for Avery. And in third place in the literary analysis and creative writing category, we have Alicia Tacarante for her submission, Bravo. So I will let Lucas take the next category, multimedia and performing arts.
Thank you, Laura. And so this category is multimedia and performing arts. And we also have a tie for first place. Our first place is Alexander Bowman, editorial political cartoons for our Daily Planet. And our second first place is Maddie Rice, DNA Discarded Narratives into Action.
Lucas, it is Alexandra.
Alexandra, excuse me.
You're good.
So for second place for multimedia and performing arts, we have Lucy Carlin with the submission Reality, Truth, and Women's Stories, Debunking Myths About Abortion. And Lucy's faculty mentor is Dr. Rebecca Boylan, who's an adjunct professor in the Office of Provost. And then third place for multimedia and performing arts, we had yet again another tie. We were incredibly impressed by the talent in each category. And if you'll bear with me here, my monitor just died and it's back. And so in third place, we have Emily Jasser, Ethical Coding, a radio play. And Dalen Waters and Ryan Henderson, The Garden of Eden. And Dalen Waters and Ryan Henderson's faculty mentor is also Rebecca Boylan. Now I will pass the next category over to Laura.
Thank you, Lucas. So I am going to cover both the policy proposal category and the rhetoric and argumentation. And the judges awarded an honorable mention to Helen Wickstrom, a call for commercial payment parity for telehealth services in the policy proposal category. And in rhetoric and argumentation, we have the first award would go to Charlotte Lindsay, Organ Allocation, a Loaded Process. The second prize in rhetoric and argumentation goes to Henry Silver, The Logic and Ethics of Climate Change Denial. And there are two third place awards in that category. One for Julia Alvey, Access to Basic Healthcare, a Privilege or a Right, a Case Analysis. Yay. And also to Nicholas Young, Banning Abortions of Down Syndrome Fetuses is Harmful to Disabled People. So yay for Nicholas. So as you can tell, it was a wonderful load of very excellent submissions. And all of us at the Kennedy Institute want to say congratulations to everyone. We wish you best wishes for the end of the semester. Incredibly, we still have to do exams and papers. I don't know why they don't just give up on that, but we will swim through the end of the semester.
I said preach, honestly.
Yes. If anyone would listen, it would be great. So I wish you all the best for the end of the semester. Take care. I hope you keep in touch. And next year, we'll see you on Georgetown's campus. You are all automatically welcomed to the 2021 showcase. You'll get to eat double food, I guess. So thank you very much, everybody. We're so glad you participated. And John Crowley Buck is saying thank you to everybody. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Dan's waving. Good night.
Oh, Dr. Bishop, I just want to say I'm doing one right now for tomorrow. So,
good way to multitask.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's I figured it was with the theme, so it wasn't disrespectful, but you know.
Yeah.